Hey guys, welcome back once again. My name is Tolly Bryn. This is the Joy of Awareness. Before I get started, I just want to ask you to subscribe and hit the bell button down below if you enjoy these videos, and if you end up enjoying this particular video, to throw in a like as well. I'd really appreciate it. And share the message. Like I'm really trying to get some real insights out there, something that can really help people stay healthy and stay sane in the insanity that's going on today. Today I kind of wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind recently with the work that I've been doing personally, which is sort of trauma recovery and getting over something called complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is something that I deal with due to my childhood and then further, pretty traumatic things that I went through in adulthood. And that is the connection between the mind and the body, and the place of spirit in all of this. Because as I get older, as I get more insights and more understanding into what this world actually means and what it means to be a human being here, I'm getting to understand that this is all more or less spiritual. Like, there are physical and emotional and mental aspects, but in the end, this is spirit. In my earlier videos, I've mostly been focused on, I guess, the physical aspects of health. And as important as they are, I have developed some new insights into all of that now. And I'd like to kind of go into those. Because physical health is definitely a key to all the further prosperity that you want in your life. And just creating the life that you want. There's no question about that. And as I've spoken about many times before, healing is very possible for most chronic illness. I of course am speaking empirically and from my own experience. So my own experiences with chronic illness of the autoimmune variety, I was dealing with all kinds of allergies and other autoimmune diseases such as gastrointestinal problems and intolerances and all kinds of other things. And I managed to heal those through fasting and a simple diet, and it's no more complicated than that. In fact, it's so simple that it's almost, I would be laughing if it wasn't so sad how few people actually understand these things. And for sure, that was definitely a huge part in, or I should say like a huge stepping stone in me kind of evolving to where I want to go in life. That is recovering my physical health. And I say recover, but when I think back, it's pretty obvious to me that I've been sick ever since I was a kid. Like, I've been given the wrong foods, the wrong medications, or should I say, like, I was given medications when I shouldn't have been. When I should have been healing from the roots, when I should have been, maturing and growing through organic, nutritious, healthful foods. Instead, I was given candy and cakes and disgusting artificial products throughout my childhood and adolescence. And in the end, in my adult years, I was just incredibly sick, and that's, I think, a place many of us find ourselves in. I was able to heal through fasting and a simple diet, and I know you and most other people can as well. But it is a spiritual journey. Even though you're taking these physical steps to healing your physical body, and trust me, your mind and your body will thank you for those steps in due time. As scary as it may be when you're taking your first steps, doing this work. But it is a question of spirit. It really is. And I wanted to just go a little bit into a third aspect to healing that I haven't really talked about that much, which is definitely connected to spirit, and that is prayer. Because when I was healing myself, for sure I was fasting. I fasted for 10 days. It was my first long fast. And then I followed that up with multiple shorter fasts from about 3 to maybe 7 days. I think that was the second longest fast that I did, along with a few dry fasts as well. 3 days was the longest, and I did a couple of those, and then a few shorter dry fasts as well. And in between, I made sure that I was eating incredibly simple foods, and just whole foods, just a couple different types of food in each meal. I was making sure that I was just really, really conscious of what it was that I was eating, so that if I did develop any kind of effects that were making me feel worse, if there was any kind of intolerance or any kind of allergic reaction in it, that I would know immediately what it was. Like, I was eating 2 or 3 foods, and if I changed something from the day before, and I was all of a sudden like, oh, my rashes are getting worse or whatever, then I'd know exactly what it was. So in essence, that's what it was. But a third aspect of my healing was, in fact, that I became incredibly diligent in praying every single day. Like, I was just like, God, please get me through this day. I'm hungry, I'm sick, I am suicidal, or I was back then, I'm not anymore, thank God. And, I did this every single day, many times a day. Just sat down and just like, when I was dealing with difficulties, God, help me get through this. And let me just say, I'm not Christian in a traditional sense. I'm not a Buddhist, I'm not a Muslim, I'm not a Jew, none of those things. I did, however, realize that there is, in this universe, one great energy that has many names. God being, I guess, the most common one, the most commonly used one, and it has a lot of baggage behind it. I'm fully aware of that, and I don't really have an agenda here. Like, you can call this energy whatever you want, as long as you find the connection to it. And I should even put a small caveat here. Atheism has become a religion, whether you like it or not. So make sure that your agnosticism or atheism is actually something that is coming from your heart, coming from your mind. I don't pretend to have all the answers. Maybe there is no energy, maybe there is no God. Like, far be it for me to tell you what your reality is or what reality is. But I should say that thinking for yourself, becoming more empirical, becoming more evidence-based, and that, by that I don't mean like going with the peer-reviewed studies. That's just crap. Like, I'm not saying the scientific method is crap. It absolutely isn't. It is the absolute best way for finding truth in this world, but most people do not understand the scientific method. The scientific method is something to be used on an individual basis to ascertain reality, ascertain the aspects and principles in reality that allow us to thrive. Otherwise, there is no reason for it. We don't want to be basing our models of reality on the research of other people in other countries. That's just absolute bullshit. So don't do that. Stop doing that. If you're an atheist because your family is an atheist family, or because you listened to Richard Dawkins when you were 16 and haven't really thought about it since then, and I'm not saying that's wrong at all. I'm just saying, think for yourself. Really do. I think you will find, if you do begin going on a fasting journey like I did, that you will begin to, first off, connect to your body more. That is something that I've been working on now very recently to go further into, because I find that incredibly important. So I've been doing that through breath work and through yoga and just exercise in general, trying to connect it's silly to word it this way, but to connect my mind to my body, even though they are inseparable in principle. I am trying to, well, I should say, I guess, connect my consciousness to my physical body in order that I can find where the trauma resides and integrate it into the whole of my being. So I know from many people who are listening to this and who don't have experience in this kind of thinking, this sounds insane, and this sounds like some hippie bullshit that you've been training yourself or you've conditioned yourself to completely avoid. I completely understand that. I was in the exact same place. Until I started to approach my life and my reality with an empirical, direct experience lens. And I do believe that is the key to all of this. So, as I said in the beginning of this video, I did want to focus this video on the three aspects of healing, which I deem to be the physical aspect, the mental and emotional aspect, and then the spiritual aspect. And in my own healing journey, I think the fasting and the simple diet, the prayer, these things are really what got me through everything. Going out into nature was incredibly important also. At the time, during my most intensive healing, I was living down by the seashore, so I went down to the sea every single day, looked out onto the ocean, got some sunlight and all that. And that is a highly, highly effective way of connecting into spirits also. If I'm ranting a bit, I hope you don't mind, because I'm still, even though I feel like I've got some insights, I've got some wisdom from what I've went through myself, I don't pretend to have all the answers, and I'm really trying to work this stuff out for myself, as well as trying to help other people going through similar crises as I went through. To end off this video, I just want to kind of go into a little bit deeper into what I'm working with now. You can probably hear I'm definitely working through a bit of flu symptoms. I had it pretty bad 2 days ago. I've still got a bit of the runny nose and stuffy nose and all that, and sounding a bit nasal. But what I've been dealing with or working through recently has mostly been understanding my own trauma in its entirety. Like, not a single traumatic event, although I have sort of identified a few of those throughout my life and, delved deeper into them than I ever have before, and that has been incredibly helpful. But as I was talking about before with the yoga and the breathwork and all this, I've started to realize that I have deeply ingrained physical and behavioral patterns, along with some mental patterns, that hold me or bind me to a version of reality that I truly was bound into as a child, as a young person, and which are absolutely that time has passed now, but the patterns remain, if that makes sense. So what I've been working on now is to identify these patterns, become more and more conscious of them, in an attempt to actually break them. And it's been going quite well, I would say. It has also been incredibly triggering for me, especially with regards to addictive patterns that I have developed throughout the years. Patterns of numbing and dissociation and kind of avoidance from these feelings, from these emotions that I've been burying for all these years. And it's, you guys, it's possible to go so incredibly deep with all this. It is crazy, and it's hard for me. Like, I'm still working through all of the stuff that I've been reading, all the stuff I've been learning, let alone trying to put into words the almost ineffable experiences of delving deep into these traumatic experiences and rooting out these traumatic patterns. And I've started to realize that all real addiction is rooted in some kind of trauma, some kind of coping mechanism that we have developed in order to either avoid or fight or resist facing something that happened to us, or something that we did or saw or experienced at some point in our lives. May have been in early childhood, may have been as an adult, Could be anything. Could be rape or war or chronic illness or the death of a loved one or accidents or whatever it may be. There is so much to work through with everybody. Everybody has their demons. Everybody has their baggage. And for sure, some people seem to have it worse than others. So nobody said that the world was going to be fair, unfortunately. But this is all something that we need to work through and deal with. And I think by spreading this awareness, by actually living this way myself and encouraging others to live the same way in truth and integrity and honesty, in actually doing the work that needs to be done in order to heal, physically and mentally and emotionally and spiritually, getting connected to that thing that I call God, that you may call whatever else you choose. Yeah, this is it's so funny with all this stuff. It's so easy to start talking and making it sound like it's this complex thing. But as you dive deeper into this stuff, as you begin to understand what it is that needs to happen, what needs to be cut out, what needs to be brought in order for true healing to happen, for true consciousness to develop and to expand, and awareness to expand out into the body at first and then out into the world. Finally, as you start to dive deeper into this stuff, you'll begin to see that it isn't complex. It is incredibly simple. It is so simple. It's so simple that it's funny, and it's so simple and so funny that it even becomes a bit sad. And that is, I think, the sort of paradoxical humor / grief of the universe is the the unbearable lightness of being, I guess. That just came up now. That's the Milan Kundera book. Awesome book. Very very, very strange book. I really liked it. It happens in the Prague spring of '69. And it's a sort of exploration of love and life and trauma, definitely, and also, you might say, well, not betrayal, but kind of differing worldviews and failure to commit on one person's part, and the endless trust and hope that somebody will change on another person's part. I really need to read that book again. It was pretty good, but that's, can't remember why I went on that tangent, but yeah, that in unbearable lightness of being, that it is unbearable how simple things are, and yet how few actually manage to understand it and see it. I guess that's where I was trying to go with this. Anyway, I think I'll end this video now. I hope you got some insight from it. I hope it got you to think a little bit more and a little bit deeper about who you are and what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Even if you're now chronically ill, if you're sick, if you're dealing with allergies or topical steroid withdrawals or eczema or lupus or MS or whatever it is that you're dealing with, or cancer or anything. There are probably things that you don't fully grasp yet, that you should certainly continue to work on grasping, because it is what will save you, it is what will heal you. There are messages out there all over the place. You can check out my channel for more information on what I did to heal myself and what you can do as well. I highly recommend that you check out my book, Health Simplified. it is an awesome book, though I say so myself. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but it is really good, and it's 177 pages. It's short and concise. It goes straight to the point of what illness is, what's holding you back, and what needs to happen for you to actually heal. I go deep into the mechanisms of healing through fasting and a simple diet, exactly what I did and what I went through in order to heal myself and find myself in the almost thriving state of health. I say almost because I'm dealing with the flu right now, so obviously I'm not 100% right now, but still, you know, going from a state of chronic illness and despair and suicidal thoughts to where I am now is nothing less than a miracle, and I really hope that my book will be able to push you in the same direction. You can also check out my website, joyofawareness.com. Got a lot of articles on there, and go, you know, pretty deep into all kinds of things that you'll probably find very enjoyable, very informative. Finally, once again, like and subscribe, and share my stuff, because I love you all, and if you love me, then you'll try to help me put my message out there. Anyway, I hope to see you next time. So, peace.